You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandi Rose and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
Hi guys, welcome back to Wheatgrass and Champagne.
Hey everyone.
How are you, Kathleen?
I'm good, aside from being so nasally.
It's kind of that time of year, like allergies and...
For sure.
Summer's here.
Oh, full swing.
Speaking of summer and humidity...
Our party the other night on the outdoor patio.
It was so fun because we were all hanging out outside and all of a sudden you could see this lightning and we're like, oh, I think it's going to rain or storm. It literally downpoured.
Within a matter of like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, something might blow in. And then it was like, whoosh.
And shout out to all the servers and bouncers and everyone that moved our entire party from the outside patio to the covered area, found us tables, brought our champagne in, like set it all up. So shout out to Crown and Bull for hooking that up. It just was flawless.
Oh, yeah. They saved the day. They were like, you guys probably want to take shelter.
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds later, it was like tornado.
But it was kind of cool. And Kathleen kept insisting on wanting to run out and play in the rain.
I should have done it.
I know you should have towards the end.
Yes. But at least we're in Tampa summers now. And so we'll get those like every day.
Which I ended up doing that yesterday. I took a sauna and it started pouring rain while I was in my sauna. And I had to run from the outdoor sauna to my house in the pouring rain.
Oh, that felt so great. Good. Yeah, when you're so hot and then you go run in the rain.
It was perfect. I thought of you. I was like, oh, if Kathleen was here right now, we could run in the rain together.
Dang it.
But we had so much fun at our party. So thank you to everyone who came and supported us and toasted champagne.
Yes, we felt so loved that night. There's so much support for this little wheatgrass and champagne we've got going.
I know. And I loved how some people came and they were shocked that we had 22 episodes. They're like, that's a whole season already.
They were like, you guys just started. And we were like, well, it has been a few months.
It has been a few months.
Time flew.
So if you haven't listened to all of them, you need to catch up if you're just listening now after coming to our party. That was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. And we're going to have, that just kicks off our series. So we're going to have a lot of different events, some that are themed wheatgrass and some themed champagne. So some celebratory, some cleansing and, fueling your soul and your body.
Yeah, and getting together with like-minded people. We had some of our guests there that, are into crystals and Ayurvedic and that are doctors. So it was kind of cool to see our listeners come and interact with them and getting to know them more. And it's all about just finding your tribe and the people that align with you and want to grow and expand. So I think our listeners, we have such a good group of people around us.
Yes.
So it was awesome. So stay tuned. Our next one will probably be wheatgrass, right? Themed. So it'll be something like healthy and something for our body, our spirit, our mind, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll do one that's totally back to champagne.
Oh, definitely. Because, we have the best of both worlds. We flip-flop all the time.
Definitely. And we gave away these cute little thank you goodie bags to everyone that came. They're so adorable. They had, some crystals in them and some greens and things that were just all representative of what we encompass. So we have a few left over. And if you didn't get to come to our event, we want to share them with you. So if you want one, we just ask that you leave us a 5-star review and screenshot it and send it to us, and we'll send you some happy mail.
Yeah, and you can send it to us via Instagram or email, or if you know us, you can text us. Whatever is easiest. And send us your address and we will send one your way.
Yeah.
They're super cute.
And we love to hear your reviews. So reach out, connect with us. If there's a specific kind of event you want us to put together, or maybe you are an owner of like a studio or a location and you'd love to host us and collaborate, leave us a message too, because we're always looking for great, fun, new ideas.
And we travel with a really fun group of people.
Yeah, we do. Of all ages, all types.
Yes. It's awesome.
So, Kathleen, should we dive into today's episode?
Yes. I'm excited to get a behind the scenes look of your career.
Yes. It's one that I did not plan on doing. When I first started, I would tell people that I'm a waxer. And they would assume it meant like clay wax, not like body wax.
Like you make pottery.
Right. And, my family from Wisconsin, they were like, can you really make a career out of that? I'm like, yeah, it's Florida. People get waxed on
People
the
are
reg.
in bikinis all the time.
Yep, exactly. So I will be an open book today. I will share all the secrets. I will tell you guys how to prep for a wax, what it's really like. And Kathleen's got a whole list of questions over there.
I do. I want to know everything.
I'm a little nervous, but I'm an open book. So let's do it.
Okay. So I want to start with what is your most common type of wax? Like
Service.
Bikini wax or underarms or eyebrows?
So I would say, I've been waxing almost 7 years. And when I first started waxing, I had kind of assumed people were just coming in for like eyebrows and bikini, that's all you really think of.
Yeah.
But I think underarms are really, really popular because once you do it once and you have those amazing results, you can't go back. And then the other one that's becoming more popular nowadays is the nose.
Yeah.
And nose means the inside nostrils, not like the outside the bridge.
Yeah.
And just to preference it for anyone that's like curious, we do not go high up into the nose because you do need those top hairs to filter. But the ones that like are low and that stick out, you do not need those. And no one wants to see them dangling from your upper lip. So,
oh my gosh, I had the most traumatic experience once. This was like a decade or so ago, maybe even longer, but I took a selfie with an ex-boyfriend.
Oh no.
And it was like, we were making these like weird little scrunch faces. And when I zoomed in on my nose, I was like, oh my goodness, something has to go. I was like, delete this right away and delete everything that's happening in my nose. Like, what is going on?
And it's so true. Most people don't realize that they have nose hair. Like they don't really look there, or if their nose is kind of like turned downward, they like aren't looking at a mirror directly at it. But when you're in my wax suite and your head is tipped back, on a pillow, I can see right up your nostrils. And so it's taken time to be like delicate and bring it up to someone and be like, oh, do you want your nose waxed?
Yeah.
So usually what I say is, oh, it's really common and popular. Do you know we even offer it? And then they're like, oh, do you think I need it? And I'm like, yes, honey, everyone needs it. Like,
okay, question, because I haven't done the nostril waxing. Is it hella painful?
No, not at all. So you would think it would be, right?
Yeah.
Because if you pull one little hair, your
You're
eyes
crying.
eyes are watering. It's so painful. I can only really say that it feels like a bunch of pressure.
Okay.
It's very weird. Like there is no pain. You don't feel like any zing or anything. It's literally just like a bunch of pressure. So no, not really at all. Like it doesn't even feel red or hot afterwards. And you can breathe. As soon as the popsicle stick comes out of your nose, you're like, like a fresh breath.
So is it just one pull per nostril, or do you have to do multiples?
I do like one. It depends. If it's someone that has like a lot of hair, like usually a gentleman that comes in that's a little older that has like those thicker gray hairs, I like to break it up because you don't want to hurt them. But honestly, one pull. And then sometimes you got to go in for a little touch up if they hide in those creases. But it's really quick. One and done, usually. So yeah, that's probably the most popular.
Okay.
And then the other thing too is most people don't realize that you can pretty much wax anything on your body. We offer arms, legs, toes, stomach strip, Brazilian, the butt strip, full butt. Anything on the face, like a full face wax, is amazing because waxing is an exfoliation. It's a very gentle, beautiful way to exfoliate your skin. It removes the dry skin cells and oils and things like that. So my women that come in that are in their 60s and 70s that have been waxing their face for years and years and years look so young.
Really?
Because it's almost like getting a spa treatment. Like you're literally exfoliating your full face every 3 weeks.
That's true.
So I really do like a full face wax, even if you don't have a lot of peach fuzz. It's kind of therapeutic.
Yeah. So how does waxing compare to other forms of hair removal, like laser or shaving or whatever else?
That's a really good question because I think a lot of people get a little confused. So shaving, you're obviously just using a razor and you're cutting the hair at the surface. So I try to help everyone picture kind of what a hair looks like. If you like see it on the back of like a shampoo bottle or something, is you have the follicle that goes deep into the root of the hair, and then you have like a bulb at the end, and that's the root. And then the follicle grows up through the skin and out into like the air that we see. And it comes out to like a point. Now, if you cut it with a razor, you're like literally cutting this blunt end of this beautiful fine tip hair. And now you've created this like stubby little surface, right? So that's why when we shave and it grows back, or we like have it in our bikini area and it like rubs on our thighs, it's like itchy because you've just like
'cause it's a
literally
flat
cut this
stub.
hair. Yeah, flat stub.
Oh my goodness.
So shaving, you're never going to get below the surface of the skin. And that's why you can shave your underarms and it still looks dark and the hair is still there under the surface. So a lot of people that struggle, for example, with underarm darkness, that, the shadow look is what people say, is it's not really your skin. It's just the hair coming through that very thin, transparent skin in the underarm. Same thing in like your bikini area. The actual skin can be thin. And so you see all that dark hair coming through. So shaving, in my opinion, is just not a super great option because of the sanitary reason. Unless you're using a new razor every single time, you're literally using something that's been sitting in your shower, either molding, getting kind of like oxidized or harboring bacteria from your skin cells the last time you used it. So that's why we can get these bumps and breakouts and things like that. Also, when it comes to shaving, I think of it as something you have to do all the time, right? Most people shave like on an everyday or every other day basis. And the whole premise of our podcast is we always talk about wanting to decrease our toxic load. So if you're having to use a shaving cream that has these parabens and chemicals in it every other day to shave your skin, that's not good. You're dumping these chemicals on every single day. And you're wasting a lot of time, in my opinion. Every day you got to get in the shower, shave your legs, shave your bikini, and shave your underarms. You just spent 10, 15 minutes that you could have just been in and out.
Yeah.
So then you look at waxing. The benefit of waxing is you're going to actually remove the hair completely from the follicle. And when that occurs, you're pulling the root out with it. It takes about 10 to 14 days for a hair to regrow in that root. And then about another 7 for it to come out to the surface of the skin. So you're looking at about a minimum of 14 to 21 days. So 2 to 3 weeks till you start noticing some hair regrowth. That's amazing. I mean, that means for that amount of time, you don't have to worry or think about it or even deal with any kind of issues. And then I tell people you want to come back and repeat your wax at between 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how fast your hair grows. In that amount of time, that root won't ever fill back up. And just like our muscles or parts of our bodies that we don't use, they start to atrophy. And so that root will eventually shrink and close up. And then sometimes it stops producing a hair altogether. So you can get like patchy and thinness. So a lot of my guests that use waxing for their underarms, after about 3 or 4 sessions, it barely starts to grow back. It's very thin, it's very fine. And what does grow back is like peach fuzz. It doesn't even bother them.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And same thing with the Brazilian and the bikinis. It doesn't take very long for that hair to stop growing thick. Yeah. So that's really exciting. It's not something you have to wait 6, 8, 9 months to see results. You literally will notice the result after your first wax.
Yeah.
And then you look at hair removals. There is Nair, which I don't really like to even talk about because Nair is hella dangerous and they've changed their formula because of how much it was burning. It's a chemical way of dissolving hair. And if you leave it on 2 seconds too long, it will literally burn your skin. So I don't like to even talk about it because honestly, it's not an option. You shouldn't ever consider it an option.
No.
Just leave your hair be at that point. But then you look at laser. And laser does serve its purpose, in my opinion, for some people that have very thick hair. Maybe it's curly. They're always getting bumps and ingrowns, even waxing. So yes, in that case, it might be beneficial. The problem with laser is that for best results, it needs to be dark hair on light skin. So you can't really be in the sun. You can't be very tan. It normally takes anywhere from 6 to 9 sessions up to 12. So that means for an entire year, you can't be in the sun. So if you're doing like your underarms or your legs or even like something on your face, like your lip, you have to be cautious with that. And you also have to shave it in the meantime.
Ugh.
So yeah, that cannot be fun. And the other problem I have with it is there's no guarantee. So it's hella expensive and then they don't really guarantee it. Some people it works, some people it doesn't. I have guests that have done it and it worked for the most part, but they're still coming in to get touch-up waxes 3 to 4 times a year.
Oh, wow.
So they are still coming in to get waxed and getting rid of the peach fuzz that the laser couldn't get.
So, and when you said that it works best for dark hair on light skin, does that mean it doesn't work as well for blonde hair?
Correct.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So a lot of people, as they get older, and even pubic hair turns gray. So some people get to the point in their life where it's now or never, because once it turns gray, they can't get it with a laser.
True.
So I believe that the way that society is going with hair removal and people don't want body hair. There are people out there probably right now coming up with some new technology or formulations that are going to help remove hair even better. But honestly, waxing is fairly affordable for what you're getting done. Like I said, you're not buying razors or shaving cream or anything like that. And it just saves us a lot of time. I mean, if you could save 15 minutes every other day,
seriously, and
that
just
adds up.
15 minutes once a month or something like that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So
Most of our
worth it.
services we can do within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Legs and full arms take a little longer. We give it about 30 minutes. But if you can come in, get your Brazilian done in 15 minutes and you're back out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have to think about it for a month.
Exactly.
Dream life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about pain, because I know, especially first timers, they are terrified. And that's why a lot of people just don't get it done because they think it's going to murder them.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to say right now, most people, when they come in for their first time, they're terrified. When they come in for their second time, everyone says, why the hell didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
Because what happens is we start to freak out before we ever walk into the appointment. And I was just as guilty. Before I was a waxer and I used to go get my own Brazilian done, I'd make the appointment, hang up the phone and be like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I'd start dreading the appointment.
Yeah.
But I wanted it done. So the first time, and I'll give you guys some tips and tricks too on how you can decrease the pain on your first experience. But know that the first one is going to suck, but it's only 15 minutes. It's less actually. It's about 8 minutes. And when it's over, it's over. It's not like you're going to walk out and be in pain for the rest of the night. It's not going to hurt for 2 days. Literally, as soon as the service is over, we apply like a very soothing serum and you're good. Like you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And then it is never as painful as the first time ever again.
Yeah,
So if you can get through the first one, it gets so much easier for the reason that I just explained with you pull that root out and the root is like thick and coarse and it's got to come through their little tiny hair follicle, but it will never grow back thick or dense again. So as long as you're doing it on a regular basis, my girls that come in like just 2 or 3 times a year, you know, maybe just when they go on vacation, they're the ones redoing that first wax every single time.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
it's really not as bad as you would expect.
Yeah.
I think in our head, we build and hype it up. And then when most people are done, they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. I went in my first one. I think I took 3 shots of probably vodka. I was like,
oh my gosh,
forever
really?
ago. Yes. I was terrified, but I was like, I really want this. I think I'm going to like the result. So I'm just going to like get a little tipsy. And so I showed up. I'm sure I was like slurring my words. And the lady was like, oh my gosh, this girl. But no, it still wasn't that bad. I mean, it's
not
painful,
that bad.
but like, and like you said, after the first time, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. And, you know, a lot of people ask me, like, should I take ibuprofen? Should I take, you know, Xanax beforehand? And honestly, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
And then my tricks for decreasing the pain, and this is something I like wish everyone knew ahead of time, is exfoliate really freaking well before you come in for that first wax. And I'll explain why. When you're shaving in your razor, typically you see that dead, dry skin, right? That means you're exfoliating as you're shaving. You're peeling off all the sweat, the oil, the bacteria, old dry skin, like whatever. However, when you come in to get wax, you have to let your hair grow out for an extended period of time. So it kind of depends on every body part and how fast your hair grows. But essentially, I would say for a Brazilian or bikini service, let it grow at least 2 weeks. You want it to be a decent length. We say the size of a grain of rice, but no one knows what the heck that means. So I say when it goes from that like stubbly, stumpy hair to like actually looking and feeling like a hair.
Yeah.
Underarms, sometimes you can get away with a little less because there's not as deep of roots. So 7 days, I would say. Eyebrows, you know, kind of depends on how long you can tolerate it. And then legs, you want to wait as long as you possibly can because there's a lot of follicles and they all grow on different rates. So
True.
The longer you wait, the more hair you'll have exposed. And so like I was saying, you go from stopping shaving to waiting sometimes up to 2 to 3 weeks for that hair to grow long enough. And if you don't exfoliate in between, all that skin is going to start to accumulate in the hair that's growing, right? Oils, sweat, things like that start to accumulate on those hairs. Now you're coming in and we're having to lay wax on those hairs and pull it off. If there is dry skin attached to that hair, it's going to tug and it's going to pull. So exfoliate really, really well. Use something that's pH balanced, especially if you're, you know, doing underarms or sensitive areas like the bikini. And you want to use something that's like gentle. Don't be down there with sugar and salt and all these crazy things. Try to find a product that is specifically formulated for waxing that doesn't have films and parabens and all that thing. So
what is an example of something, a good product for them to use to exfoliate?
So I know that there's a lot out there that does like enzymatic exfoliation. So if you don't know what enzymatic exfoliation is, it's where they use fruit enzymes. And it's like a gel that you put on dry skin, kind of like when you get a professional facial done, they use an enzyme peel. So something like that. It's really gentle, really safe. You're not like scrubbing and irritating the area. I know European Wax Center has a really good body polish that's really nice too. So even if you don't go there for services, you can pop in and buy any of their products, and they're all pH balanced and film free and stuff too. So something that like I said, is specifically formulated for waxing.
Yeah.
And then exfoliate really well the night before. That's going to help, like I said, kind of lift all that gunk off. And then you go into your first appointment and it's not going to hurt nearly as bad.
Yeah.
And it brings those hairs out to the surface. So just peels them right off.
Okay. So before you wax, exfoliate really well.
Yep.
What else should they do?
I would definitely say hydrate like your body. People that come in that are very dehydrated, their skin is more tender. So although waxing should not irritate your skin at all, you do want your skin and your hair to be hydrated.
Yeah.
Because then you're not
sense.
breaking and snapping and dryness and things like that. So hydration is important for our skin in general, but especially if you're waxing.
Yeah.
And just mentally be prepared for it. I mean, I think really it comes down to mental. If you come in a nervous, hot mess, it's only going to be worse. You know what I mean?
Isn't it when you tense up, it's more painful?
Totally. If you're tensing muscles, and our hair is connected to these muscles under the skin called erector pili muscles. And erector pili are the muscles that give us goosebumps. So when your hair sticks up and you have goosebumps, it's the erector pili muscles.
Oh,
so
that's fun.
when you're tensing, you're almost like pulling that hair back into the body. So come in with this mindset of, I'm going to do the damn thing. And sometimes I have to have pep talks with my girls. I'm like, listen, you're a badass bitch. Other people can do this. You can do it too.
Yeah.
You'll be in and out. You'll feel like a superstar. Okay. Yep. So just be prepared for it. It's not so bad. 15 minutes and you're out the door and you're skipping to your car going, I did it. I did it. And then it's over. And like I said, it gets easier from there.
So you get a waxing session and a mental coach session.
Totally. I'll mentally coach you through it.
Okay. Do you have a preference for a type of wax? Because I know like there's the melty kind that you have to attach a strip to.
Yep.
And then there's the kind that is melty, but then it hardens.
Yep. So there's soft wax and there's hard wax. There's also sugaring and some other types of wax that I'm not super familiar with, but the most common is either a soft wax where you do lay the cloth paper strips to it. That's like what you've seen in 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I think Ellen had like an episode where she waxed her DJ Twitch and they had soft wax for like a Magic Mike premiere or something.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm not a super huge fan of soft wax. One, I'm not super familiar with it. I've never really used it in the 7 years that I've waxed. But my concern mostly is a hygienic purpose. You don't know where those cloth paper strips have been stored.
Ooh.
There could be dust on them. They could have been touched, with dirty hands. I mean, it's just like this extra piece of material that really isn't necessary in my opinion. So I'm a huge, huge fan of hard wax. If you're calling around for like places, like maybe you live in an area and you've never been waxed and you want to find a good location, I would do your research, but you feel free at any point in time to call these places and say, hey, I was just curious, what kind of wax do you use? And they should be able to explain it and then also explain why they use that kind of wax.
Yeah.
So hard wax for sure, for me is like a no-brainer. It hardens on the skin, lifts up off, and you can peel it. Especially when you're doing sensitive areas that have creases and folds, you want that piece of wax to come off in one clean strip. So don't worry if you're doing like a bikini or somewhere that's like got tender, sensitive areas. It's not going to pull anything off. It's not going to irritate it. That strip is coming off in one piece. You're going to be just fine.
Well, and that's something that I don't know if it's a vicious rumor or if this did happen somewhere in history, but this is what I heard before I had my first Brazilian.
Okay.
And I think everyone I've talked to has heard it too, but that in some waxings, pieces of skin will be ripped off.
So sometimes that can happen with soft wax.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that with like paper strips and soft wax?
Yeah. So, the thing is, sometimes if the temperature of the wax is off, again, if the person's skin is like compromised already, so if you have like a sunburned or it's thin, the other thing that is really important that a lot of people don't realize is some medications can actually thin your skin.
Truth.
So if you're going to a waxing center, or even someone that does it, in like a studio or something, and they're not asking you what kind of medications you're on, be nervous. It is a very, very important question that all wax specialists should be asking their clients, and front desk staff ask as well. And don't brush it under the rug. If they say, you know, are you using any retinoids or retin-A's or anything like for acne? It is serious. It thins out your skin and changes the chemical compound of it. And so waxing in the heat can actually peel people's skin. And then also antibiotics. Can be very harsh on the skin itself because of our gut. Our gut and our skin are related. So if it is destroying some gut bacteria, it can thin out the skin. So I've had some people that have come in, you know, after they've been sick and they took around antibiotics, or they were in the sun, or maybe they're using like a, you know, what is the acne medication that everyone uses?
Proactiv?
Proactiv, yeah. It's just a big no-no to wax. I mean, especially on the face, but it can even affect other areas that you're not putting directly that retin-A. Like it can affect the underarms.
I know. Once it's absorbed into the body, it goes all the way through.
Yeah. So everything is connected and matters.
Yeah. So that's a good tip.
Yes.
That everything you're putting in might affect your wax experience.
Yeah. And if you're unsure, you know, I know some people come in and they're taking, you know, blood thinners or X, Y, and Z. Just ask. Yeah. I mean, most people that have been in this industry will have a list of medications that interfere and don't. And, you know.
And if they don't, then they're probably not a legit place and you should not be there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big advocate for safety first.
Yes. And if you're having a hard time finding something in your local area, just message one of us. Yeah. Mandi especially, I'm sure knows everything in the country.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Feel free to message me, and you can just use our Wheatgrass and Champagne Instagram DM and say, hey, question for Mandi. And I will totally hop on and answer all your questions.
We will get you to safety.
Yes.
Okay, so another thing that I know is kind of big in bikini waxes in general, and this actually comes to mind. I had a friend who is a doula, and it was common with her as well, but a common comment that people in that industry hear is that everyone thinks their vagina looks weird. And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want you to see it. Like, no. No one can ever see it. I don't even look myself.
Kathleen? Are we going there?
We are going there.
All right, let's do it. So yeah, this is definitely a topic that I love to talk about as a waxer, because when people hear that I'm a wax specialist and that I do Brazilians, and some days I'll do up to 15 a day, you know, and I've been doing this almost 7 years. So I've seen a lot. Yeah. And people get very nervous. And I'll tell you right now, it's like a freaking elbow. They're all unique. They're all different. It is what it is. And it's literally not a big deal. Yeah. And it breaks my heart. And I've had women that have come in and are so self-conscious. I mean, they want it done, but they'll tell me like how self-conscious they are about it. And it breaks my heart, because no woman should ever be worried that theirs looks any better or not as good as someone else. Yeah. It is yours. It is beautiful. It is powerful. Like, treat it as such. Yeah. And it's just this stupid image of society that it's supposed to look like this, and it's supposed to be this. And even with waxing, you know, like not even talking about the shape and the color and whatever, even with the waxing, you don't have to come in and get it all taken off. You don't even have to come in at all. If you like it hairy, rock and roll with it. Like literally it's up to you, right? Yeah. And you know, if someone wants to strip or a little V, you know, people say, well, what's common? What do other people do? And I'm like, what do you like? If you don't want any hair there, take it off. And sometimes too, they'll say, you know, my husband likes it this way, or my boyfriend likes it that way. My last boyfriend liked it that way. And I will tell them, well, what do you like? Because you shouldn't care what they like. You're the one who has to live with it every day.
Exactly.
So, you know, for all the women listening, if you're self-conscious and the only thing that's holding you back from going to get a Brazilian or a bikini wax is you're self-conscious, trust me, sister, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. No one cares what it looks like more than you do. So if you stop, no one else will.
And it's just crazy. Like, just like your face, like everyone looks so different, but
totally
everyone is like perfectly acceptable and like perfectly beautiful in their own way.
Totally. So absolutely.
No different.
Not at all. So yeah, that's a really important message, I think.
Yeah.
If you want to get your bikini wax, you go, girl. And it's not weird for us. I think that's a question too, is you know, people will say, well, how do you do this job all day? And I'm like, I'm here because I really like to make people feel beautiful. And if taking someone's hair off makes them feel beautiful, then rock and roll, you know? And if it's like their underarms, if it's their eyebrows, like we do a lot of eyebrows, that's all I'm concerned about, is you walk out feeling like a more self-confident version of yourself. So yeah, come in and get it done.
You go. Okay. So I do want to get into some of your more client interactions.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I want to cover if like waxing at home.
Yep.
Do you have any tips for that, or do you completely advise against it?
So this is what I'll say. I've been waxing 7 years. I could wax my own body in the dark. Like I know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
But I can't even do that to myself, especially not eyebrows. I think it's super hella dangerous to try to wax your own eyebrows. One drip or drop of wax in the wrong place and it's over.
The whole thing is gone.
Nose you can attempt, but I'm gonna tell you, you could put it in, but how are you gonna get it out?
I don't think anyone has the willpower to do that to themselves.
No, I would say maybe lip. But again, you have to really know temperature. You want to try to find a wax that isn't like the soft paper wax, where it can be irritated. Also, the difference between doing it at home and doing it professionally is when you do it professionally, they're going to be using the correct products to cleanse and prep your skin. And then also the correct products post-wax, to make sure that those open follicles have some sort of antibacterial property on them, that, it's clean and you're not going to get like any bumps or ingrowns. So oftentimes I do get people that come in that have tried at-home waxing and they just constantly get bumps and breakouts and ingrowns, and it's just not looking super nice. And it's just because they don't have the products that they need. So, I've just heard a lot of crazy horror stories. I've heard so many people. I've had people come in with like 2 strips off their Brazilian. And they're like, I couldn't finish. I bought the at-home kit. My husband had to help me rip 1 or 2 and I couldn't do any more.
Oh my gosh.
And they come in, it's like a quarter of the way done.
That is one thing I could never do, is have my husband help me with bikini wax.
Right. And I just laugh. I've heard so many crazy stories. So just take it from me and all the women that have tried it before. It's not worth it.
Have someone help you. Just go get it done.
And it's messy. Like by the time you buy it, you warm it up, you get it the right temperature. You've just taken like an hour. It takes time. And then it's like a mess all over your bathroom. Like you go somewhere professionally and they're like in and out the door and no cleanup required.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. And speaking of open pores and getting bumps. So there is a waiting period after getting a wax where you should be cautious, right?
Yes. So I'll kind of, I guess this will be a good time to talk about prepping your skin and then during your wax and then, all that. So aftercare. So what you want to do before your wax, like I was saying, is exfoliate, come in, get your wax done. Now, if you are coming in for a specific event, like let's say you want your underarms and your bikini done before a wedding, a vacation, a bachelorette, something like that, you want to make sure that you get your wax done at least 2 days before that event. And because like you just said, you have these open pores. When I'm pulling your hair out, you have an open follicle and it takes 24 to 48 hours to close. If you've never done the service before, it's going to take longer because those roots are deeper and thicker. If you've been waxing for quite some time, and the hair is really thin and you don't have a lot of deep roots, sometimes people can get it done in the morning and by the afternoon, like they're good to go. But that's only because they've done it a long time and they know exactly how their skin's going to react. So if you're not sure, give it at least 2 to 3 days. And then when you go home, make sure that you're not doing anything that would promote any bacterial growth on the skin. So don't sweat, don't go to the gym, don't go in a hot tub, don't go into the ocean, don't go anywhere where there might be germs that get in those open pores.
For 2 days.
For 2 days, yes.
Longer if it's your first time.
Exactly. Okay. And you want to make sure that you're putting some sort of serum on it that has, like I said, antibacterial properties. So we use one specifically where I work that has like tea tree oil and some other great products in it. And that just like soothes the skin and really protects it. Because the 2 times that you're most prone to bumps and ingrowns is going to be the first, like I said, 48 hours when the follicle is open. And then the second time that you're most prone to any kind of bump or ingrown is as the hairs start to grow back out. Because again, you're not shaving, so you need to be regularly exfoliating. So this kind of goes into aftercare. You're not shaving, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it, but you do have to exfoliate that skin. Because just like our legs and just like the rest of our body, you have dry skin cells that are going to shed. And you're also going to have sweat and oils that accumulate, especially if it's underarms or back to the bikini area. So I say 2 to 3 times a week, gently exfoliate, kind of with the products I was saying before, either like a scrub that's film-free, pH balance, etc., no parabens or gunk in it, and then, or an enzyme peel. And that will make sure that when those little baby hairs grow back out to the surface, there's nothing blocking its way. Because if there is some dry skin or oil on the surface and those hairs try to come through, they're like, oh, roadblock, and they go back under. Now you've got ingrown hairs. And nobody wants bumps and ingrown hairs.
Never.
So if you're prone to ingrowns and stuff, just like I said, you can message me. I can send you guys some good links and products and stuff. But
yeah,
that's probably the biggest trick. If you're going to pay the money, invest the time, and go through the pain, you really need to be diligent on like your aftercare.
Yeah.
And it's not major. I mean, it takes 2 seconds.
And I haven't found a product I love, but I haven't tried any that you've recommended. So maybe I should. But
yeah, there's one in specific that's fantastic that also is good for people who are shaving, like their underarms and legs. Let's say they like wax their Brazilian, but they shave their legs. It will really help with like that. You ever like shave your legs and then you go in the ocean or something and it like stings so bad?
Yes.
Yeah, this product will help calm that down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing I use is coconut oil mixed with coffee grounds. And so the coconut oil is antibacterial, and then the coffee grounds are like just coarse enough to exfoliate.
So I love that you just brought that up. No coconut oil on areas you're waxing.
Okay, that was what I was going to ask.
Coconut oil is comedogenic, meaning it clogs pores.
Oh.
So if you're shaving, not a big deal, right? Like there's no pores, that they're all closed.
Yeah.
But when you're waxing, you have open pores. So if you put some coconut oil on there, it's going to clog that pore. And then when those hairs, again, try to grow out to the surface and you have a film.
You have an ingrown mess.
Yeah, you have a film of coconut oil. Because you ever put coconut oil on your skin and it feels so soft. You kind of feel that like filmy layer where you're like, ooh, it's soft.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hairs don't like that. They're like, hello, coconut oil, get out of the way. I'm trying to come through.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm so glad I said that so that you educated me and our audience.
And no coconut oil on your face while we're on that topic too. Because again, it's comedogenic. So it can make people break out in acne.
Wait, I literally put coconut oil on my face every day.
Well, you're super lucky. I mean, but people have like oily skin. Yeah, for the most part, coconut oil can break out people if they're oily. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, it works for me, but I wonder what percentage of people it doesn't work for, because I have had a couple friends who it makes them break out every time.
Yeah, coconut oil. And of course, it comes down to product and organic and yada, yada. But
yeah,
in general, in the cosmetology and esthetician world, coconut oil is known as a comedogenic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Sorry, not sorry.
Okay, so I want to get to some of your experiences in the wax studio.
Yes.
So I know that people, I myself am one of them, when we're in such a vulnerable position, we're just like, oh my God, let me tell you everything about my life, because I trust you now more than I trust anybody because you have seen all of my vulnerability.
Yes.
So are you just a counselor during your sessions?
Yeah, totally. Totally. People come in and it's like, you know, if they're going to spread their legs and you're going to wax them, they just feel super open and compelled to share everything with you sometimes. So like I said, our bikini services are only 15 minutes. So, oh my gosh, people just unload in like 15 minutes and you're like, oh, hey. But the cool thing about it is, you know, and a lot of people ask, for those of you who don't know, I did hair before I was a wax specialist. So I like doing hair, but the thing is with doing hair, and I'm just as guilty of it, I try to go as long as I possibly can between getting my hair cut.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, it's been 6 months. I should probably go back. Now, as a hairdresser, sometimes I don't see people for 6 months. Like they're my clients. I get to know them. I spend 3 hours with them coloring and cutting and styling, and I don't see them again for 6 months. With waxing, people are coming in every 3 to 4 weeks because they don't want to go through the pain of the first time again. And they love it so much that they like are addicted to it and they keep coming back. So I get to develop these really cool personal relationships with people on a monthly basis. So they come back and see me every month. We catch up, like, how are the kids? How's life? How's your job? Like, if you're single, are you dating anyone? So it's this really cool interaction where the first time they come in and they're hella nervous and they're kind of just word vomiting because they're just like, I'm so nervous. I'm just going to talk about anything. And some of us, when we're nervous, we say things that, you know, whatever come out of our mouth. But it ends up building this really cool relationship because I get to see them again and again, and we get to know each other, and they'll tell me things, you know, that they don't tell other people. Or like I said, some women tell me their insecurities and I can totally be like, no, girl, back that up. You know, so like we do like, I'm very like empowering and I want everyone to leave feeling beautiful. Yeah. So that's why I love it. And I would say most people that are doing waxing services, even if it's just their eyebrows, literally feel a connection with their wax specialist. Yeah. I hear it all the time. They're like, oh yeah, my waxer is the best. I won't go to anyone else. Yeah. Because they like genuinely love them.
Absolutely. And it's funny because it's almost like with any other person that you meet in your life, you have this very long, drawn out process of getting to know them and feeling comfortable with them. But when you are like naked from the waist down, you get to know someone real quick.
Yep. Yeah. We bring people into our area, into our like little suites, and it's like, okay, just take everything from the waist down off and hop up on the bed. And they turn around like deer, you know, the headlights, and they're like, wait, like now? I'm like, yeah, girl, now. We got like 14 minutes. Like,
you're like, we just lost a minute.
Time's a ticking. So yeah, let's go. And they're like, can I like have like a robe or something? I'm like, I'm gonna see it. Yeah, I'm gonna see it. So don't worry about it. Let's just do the thing.
Cut to the chase.
And I think after I've been doing it so long, I kind of forget like how nerve-wracking it is for people, because it's not weird for me at all.
Yeah.
Like people ask that all the time, and I'm like, it's literally not weird. I could care less. Like,
I know. After 7 years, you're like, this is what I do for my day job.
Yep.
We're fine.
Yep. And I'm just, we're professional, right? All the girls that do this career, they're professional. They know how to calm you down. If you're nervous, walk in and literally say, I am so freaking nervous, because we will totally take over. Like we will calm you down. We'll explain it. You know, I've held people's hands before. I've had people cry, and like we've talked it through, you know, like just be honest, be genuine. Like, we're here for you.
Yeah.
We literally experience it every day, all the time.
Yeah.
We're really good at it.
Yeah. And I'm sure no one's first time is pretty. I'm sure they're all like kicking, screaming, cussing.
Oh yeah. Yell, scream, kick, whatever you got to do. We get it. I get it. And we do breathing techniques. Like we help you like breathe in, breathe out, you know, that like make it a little less painful and stuff. But yeah, if you're hella nervous, just come in and say you're nervous.
Yeah.
We got you. You'll be fine.
You can do it. Okay. Do you have what is your most memorable experience?
Oh my gosh. There's so many. I guess I'll share like a funny one, and then, oh God, I could go on for hours, but
I know. I'm like, tell me everything.
Tell you everything. Okay. Well, I'm going to share a really funny one. So for those of you who don't know, I guess maybe should I like kind of talk about like the procedure for like a Brazilian? I guess that's what everyone wants to know. Like, what is it like?
Do it.
Because this will kind of
like
lead me into my funny
positions.
story.
Okay.
So the positions, right? So every place is going to do it different. Some people are going to have you like a yoga pose, and some are just going to lay you flat, like whatever. But essentially you're going to do the front. And the difference between a bikini line, a bikini, and a Brazilian is the bikini line is just the line, right? So you had a swimsuit on, it's going to be the line on the thighs and on the top. If it's bikini full, it means everything in the front. So it can be a strip, it can be a V, it can be everything gone. If it is Brazilian, we add on the strip in the back, up the butthole like area, on the tailbone, and it's like a strip, and it clears the hair off that little area, you know, right there.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, you want to do the Brazilian because 2 reasons. One, if you do the front, you got to have the back match.
Yes.
Okay. The front has to match the back. Otherwise, there's going to be a little line right in the middle where the hair is going to start again, and that's going to be weird. Or on the second hand is you can't shave that area. That's probably the most dangerous area to be shaving. So you absolutely need to be doing the Brazilian.
Yes.
Some people will do just the bikini line, and then they'll just do that back strip.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's like whatever you like. Literally, everyone is so unique on what they like and what they want. So don't feel weird asking for what you want. You know what I mean? So, okay. So that leads me into my funny story. So this one time, and this was like years ago. So I was just starting. So I'd been waxing for a while, but I was just kind of getting in the rhythm of waxing people on a regular basis. So I was busy. You don't have a lot of time. So I flip this person over. They do the front, flip them over, just met them for the first time, flip them over. They're on their belly. I'm doing their tailbone strip, right? So I have to put some baby powder down first, because and sweating is normal, guys. Okay. If you come in and you get a Brazilian and you're sweating, it is 100% expected.
I would think, because your adrenaline is like, what's happening?
Oh, people get like clammy hands and they get nervous and they're like, I'm so sorry, I'm sweating. It's totally fine. It is your body's natural reaction to give you adrenaline. So you get up off that table and run out the room. Like, it's normal. But what happens is when you're laying on your back, all the sweat drips down into the area we're about to flip over and wax. Also normal. Don't feel weird about it. So I flip people over, and then we put down a little baby powder to kind of dry the area, and then we apply the wax. So I go to put the baby powder down, and this poor woman just farts.
Oh, no.
And this baby powder shoots up into the air like a little volcano. It's like, oh my God. And I am trying hard not to laugh because I just met her and she didn't clearly see the baby powder go flying because she's on her belly face down. So I didn't want her to think that I was laughing at her or any part of her body or at the fact that she farted. So I had to hold it in, it was probably the funniest thing ever. I will never forget it. And I literally, all I could do was just hurry up to get her out so I could just laugh, and it had nothing to do with her. It was literally just the fact of seeing this powder go poof. I was like, oh my gosh, did that really happen? It was so funny. Yeah. So that was probably one of the funniest times.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever see this person again?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mostly see people on a regular basis, month after month. And so the next time she came in, we talked about it because she's like, did you hear me fart? And I was like, yes, but this is why I was about to crack up. And then we had a good laugh about it. But
oh, good. So you did tell her about the powder.
Yeah. It was later.
Oh my God. That is mortifying. That is so crazy.
It was so funny. But yeah, funny things like that happen all the time, and most people are so fun with it. You just got to laugh, you know? Weird things happen. And the other thing is too, some people do come in on their period and it's not weird for me. People come in and they're like, is it okay? I'm like, if it's okay for you, it's okay for me. So if that's your situation, put a tampon in and come on in.
That kind of blew my mind when you said that because I would never, being a client, I would never come at that time. But
really?
Yeah.
Well, so the worst time, in my opinion, to get waxed is the week or the couple days leading up to your period.
Yeah.
Because our estrogen's really high. You're very sensitive to heat and pressure and all that. So usually what I tell my girls is just wait till you get your period, till you're at the tail end of it, put a tampon in and come in and get waxed. Huh. Some people want to be waxed before their period because it's cleaner and it's more comfortable.
Well, yeah, and the timing is perfect because you're right at the end of the week when you don't really want to do much because you're on your period. Yeah. And so you're like, okay, might as well use 2 of those days to not do anything also because I've been waxed.
Yeah, exactly. So to each his own. But yeah, I mean, it's literally to us, like I said, we do it all the time. It is no big deal. Huh, put a tampon in and come on in.
I guess we're all girls.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean a thing.
It's not weird. It's not weird for us.
Oh, and speaking of girls, do you ever wax guys? I know some guys get Brazilians.
So luckily I have not, and we do not where I work. But there are definitely locations that do, and they do really well, and more power to them.
Go guys.
I mean, I know I do wax men every other part, but they're Brazilian, I guess I should say. So I do wax men. I do backs and chests, face, which I do not really recommend for men at all. Yeah. Face is men's beards and things like that are very thick and the hair can grow in multiple directions. So it can break and rip skin. So it is definitely not preferred. And I always tell a guy ahead of time, hey, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, men love their nose done. Okay. Because they really have that weird little tool, that I don't know. I would think the tool just kind of twists the hair up until it snaps it off. Yeah. Not good at all. And then let's see. Ears is a popular one for men too, as they age, especially. Mm-hmm. Eyebrows. Actually, more and more men are getting their eyebrows done.
Really?
And if you go into a location that does men's brows, and if you're a man or if you guys have a significant other or a man in your life, have them listen to this clip because we will not wax a man's brows to look like a woman's brow. They will get a manly version of an eyebrow wax. We will clean up the center strip and we will get rid of the burliness. They're not going to come out with these pristine, perfect, sharp angled brows. Don't worry about that at all, men.
Yeah.
But yeah, men love their back wax. Absolutely love it because if they sweat, and they don't have hair there anymore, they don't smell, and then the sweat just evaporates a lot quicker. So if you live in a hot climate, it's a lot more comfortable for men to have their back clean. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty common actually. So I didn't really expect that when I first started. I thought it would be athletes and bodybuilders, but no, it's super common. I get men especially that are construction workers and work outside a lot.
Oh, true.
They're hot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want hair on my back either.
Yeah. Ew, no way.
But yeah.
Take it off. Okay, so since we are talking about the down under,
okay,
don't you have a couple tips for just maintaining feminine hygiene and the good versus bad bacteria?
Yeah. So this is definitely a question. It goes back to what you were saying is people come in and they just spread their legs and start telling me all sorts of things. So yeah, a lot of times people are asking for, advice and tips and tricks on hygiene and cleanliness and stuff. And like I said, I'm an open book. So something that I use actually more in the health coaching and not really in the waxing world, but I do like to share for women that really struggle with like bacterial infections and yeast infections and things with their pH being off in that area. My favorite recipe is using hydrogen peroxide diluted in water, and you're going to insert it kind of like I don't want to say the word.
Like with those those nose bulbs that you use for like kids' noses?
Yeah, exactly. You guys know the word I'm not going to say, but you squeeze a little bulb, like a mucus sucking bulb thing. I don't even know what the word is. What is it?
I don't know what they're called.
There's got to be a technical word for it.
Those
like a mini baby turkey baster. Just like making it sound even worse.
A tiny Thanksgiving.
Yeah, those little tiny little bulb things. Like I don't know. Bulb syringe?
Like when you have a kid and it's like the ball part of it is like the size of a tennis ball maybe. Yeah, exactly. But you use it to like clean out a child's nose.
Exactly. Those things. You know, like the Dollar Tree or something.
Yeah, so
right?
use that tool.
Use that tool. You're going to do like a tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide to like a quarter cup of water. So it's pretty diluted. Okay. And you put it up there. I usually do this in the shower. It's the easiest way. Put it up there. You're not really trying to hold it in or anything. You're just trying to put it in to kind of cleanse that area if there's any like bad bacteria and stuff. Just like you would put hydrogen peroxide in your ear, or swish it as a mouthwash in your mouth. And then I do the same formulation, tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to a quarter cup of water, because apple cider vinegar will have the correct pH and will go in and kind of repopulate that area. So that's my trick. It works for me. It probably works for a lot of other women. And I would say, depending on what you have going on, just kind of feel your body out if you do it every day for a couple days, or if you do it every other day, or if you do it once a week as like maintenance. But I've heard really good success.
And is that used for like yeast infections and things like that too?
Yeast, bacterial, yeah. Instead of taking antibiotics or things like that, that's
and the over-the-counter things are toxic.
Totally. And even with antibiotics, it kind of tends to just throw you in a loop of having more issues.
So, holistic vaginal tips from Mandi.
Yes. Yes, I got lots of them. Also great if you're having any irritation in that area, like chafing, whether you exercise a lot. I get a lot of people that work out a lot, or they're like waitresses, or they're in like an environment where it's like sweaty and hot and humid. Coconut oil, back to what you were saying, and like tea tree oil or oregano oil or lavender is super soothing. Mm-hmm. So that can definitely help with those areas because, it just does get irritated sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So this episode has been crazy informative.
Yeah. And I feel like I could talk for hours and share stories for hours. So maybe we'll do a second episode. If you guys really like this, message us and let me know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Or other questions you might have.
Ask for a part 2.
Yeah, totally. And drop us any questions, literally. Yeah. Especially first timers. Because trust me, like I said at the beginning, most people come in, get their first wax, come back in the second time and go, why the hell didn't I do this sooner?
And I think everyone has the same questions and the same reservations going into it, but they're all just too afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
So no question is too weird.
No way.
Like Mandi and I have been on both sides of the table. Well, I've been on one side of the table. She's probably been on both sides.
Yes.
But so we know it all. So let us know whatever you think, feel, questions, concerns.
Totally.
Nothing is too weird.
Totally.
So, okay, Mandi, let's wrap it up with your final best tips and tricks for hygiene, manicuring, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. So I guess a tip that I haven't said that's really, really important is you do not want to shave in between your waxes, whether it's underarms, bikini, whatever. And the reason for that is anytime you shave, you're resetting the growth pattern. So do not shave in between. The challenge I hear a lot from my girls, and I understand it, is that if you live in Florida or somewhere hot, you don't want any stubble, right? Especially in the underarms, a couple hairs grow back and you're like, oh my gosh. Or the bikini line especially, you want those areas constantly clean. So to be able to have them clean as long as possible, my trick would be 1, exfoliate really well before your appointment. So you're able to get all those short little stubbly hairs out and get them all off at your wax appointment. So you don't go home with some wax or some hair, that's like missed. Or maybe it was too short and it didn't come out. So exfoliate really well. And then also don't wax too often. Some people get a little crazy and they want to come in for their Brazilian like every week or their underarms like every week. What can happen is maybe only 20% of the hair grew out that week. And now you've waxed it off. And the next week, what's going to happen? The other 80% is going to grow in. Now you have two completely different growth patterns. So then you come in a week later and you take the 80% off, but then the 20% comes in. So you kind of want to wait as long as you possibly can to let all the hair grow and then get it all at once. So that's my best trick for that. Now, if it is an area like your underarms and you have to like have them clean and fresh, we do what's called like an unlimited, which is great, like an unlimited pass, and you can come in as often as you want. So that is definitely an option. Or, you know, if it's like 2 or 3 little hairs and you got to tweeze them, like I'd rather you do that than shave it.
Yeah.
Just don't shave it.
Definitely.
It's not going to be worth it, I promise.
No.
So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is if you are doing your wax for like a wedding, or let's say summer's coming up and you want to get your wax on, start like 2 to 3 months before. So if you're going to get married in May, you want to come in and start getting your waxes in March. Don't wait until the week before your wedding to come in for your first wax.
No.
Same applies with pregnancy, by the way. I get women that come in that are 9 months pregnant. They cannot see that area anymore.
Yeah.
They know they're about to be due and a bunch of people are about to see their area. So they come in to get waxed for their first time.
For the first.
It's literally, girl, this one time I had a chick come in. She was due 2 weeks later. First Brazilian ever. She hadn't been shaving it in 3 months because she couldn't see it over her belly anymore.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, Lord, please don't have this baby on my table right now. Like, I'm about to pull some hair out and there's going to be like adrenaline and the baby's going to come flying out.
Oh
So if you are pregnant, start at the beginning of your pregnancy. Do it throughout your pregnancy. The hair will grow thinner, softer, finer, less dense throughout your pregnancy. By the time you're about to give birth, it'll be just fine.
Well, I would think like during pregnancy, things would be a lot more sensitive too.
They're very sensitive. If you are pregnant and you know that 3 months before you really tell people that you're pregnant, if you know you're pregnant, tell your waxer. She ain't going to tell anyone, I promise you. But we need to know because the wax does need to be cooled down a little bit because you have a lot of blood flow and things going on in that area. So it can bring more heat and pressure and temperature and irritation. So we'll definitely cool down the wax and make sure it's nice and gentle for you, but let us know, please. Yeah. And so if you're getting married like in May, come in March. And the reason for that is because you need to get in this new routine of exfoliating, prepping your skin, using the serum post-waxing, you know, this 2-day, 48-hour period of not going in like a sauna and things like that. So you want to get 2 cycles of waxes out of the way before your big event comes. And same thing, if you're like wanting it for summer, don't stop waxing in October because it's winter.
Yeah.
You want to continue it so it just gets thinner and thinner. So by the time summer rolls around, you barely have any hair.
Yeah.
So.
And it's less painful.
Exactly. And then my third tip would be really do your research on the location.
Yeah.
I think that's really the most important thing. And not to say that someone who has a studio or a suite and is like doing it on their own, you know, as like their own business isn't good, because I know a lot of waxers that I've worked with that are very skilled. They've been doing it for years and they're very professional and they have their own little place. I just mean it by you need to check reviews, you know, Yelp it, because it is a very important thing that you're going to be doing. This isn't like just getting your hair colored. This is like legit your skin.
It's actually a big thing on Yelp. I feel like Yelp is only used for waxing and restaurants.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
nothing else.
It's very important. And call them and ask all your questions. You know, most places we actually prefer that. If you call with all your questions ahead of time and we can help you prep, get ready for your appointment, calm your nerves, you know, answer your questions. If, yeah, again, like the medications and things like that, you know, just call and they should be able to explain all of this to you. They should be able to explain what kind of wax they're using. They should be able to explain their method. When you go in and get waxed, you know, the person should be educating you on skincare, like teaching you about your skin. I think that's just, it's super important. So take care of yourself. Go get it done. Don't be afraid.
Don't.
It's not so scary. Don't be one of those people. So hopefully that was really informative and not too much information either.
No, I think that was perfect.
Okay, good.
I really do.
Yay. Well, I hope we have a part 2 in the future.
Yeah.
And shameless plug, if you're in the Tampa area, come get waxed by me. You can send me a message. I'll tell you where I'm located, because honestly, if you haven't been waxed from me, are you really even my friend? I've waxed all my friends.
Oh my God, can we tell them the story?
This is the best story because this predates Wheatgrass and Champagne or us like working together. It literally, we were friends. And Kathleen tried to dodge me for her wax appointment.
I big time tried to dodge. So I knew the business she worked at, but there were a couple of locations. And so I was like, I know for a fact that she works at this location. So I'm going to go to this other location to make sure I don't see her. Because I don't know why. I was like, I cannot let one of my friends do this to me. I just can't. I can't. So I booked my appointment online and I'm looking down the list of names because it makes you select your waxer. And I was like, okay, none of these names are Mandi. So I'm perfect. I'm in the clear. I'm going to book with this girl and we're done. So I show up for my appointment this day. And lo and behold, who walks out of the back but Mandi Rose?
Yes, there I was. I saw her name pop up on my book and I was like, yay, Kathleen's here. We're going to hang out for 15 minutes. She did not have that same mentality.
Oh my God. I cannot imagine what my face looked like. When you were like, hey, Kathleen, I was probably like, no, fuck no.
She was like, I'm running out the door. That's literally what she looked like. I think she like came in and was like, yeah, we don't have to do this. And I was like, yeah, we do. You're here. We're doing this.
Oh yeah, I think I probably gave you like 3 outs and you were like, no, just get on the table.
I know, you were like, yeah, it might not be long enough or I don't know. Is this going to be weird for you? Like you tried using every line in the book. And I was like, we're hanging out and it's happening. The universe made this happen. You tried to dodge me so hard.
Oh my gosh. I thought I had it all covered. I was like, not your name, not your place, not even your city. So we're good. And then you're like, I'm here.
Hello.
So anyway, she's a great waxer. I can vouch for that. So yes, locals, you should message her.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Come see me. I know what I'm doing. And like, it's so funny because some of my friends come to me specifically because I'm like, why would you want anyone else doing it? It's a risk. It's a gamble. You know I'm going to crush it. Let's do it. And then other of my friends are like, that's just too weird. And I'm like,
I can't.
No, it's not weird. Come on in.
Yes. Now that I've done it once, I could for sure do it again. It's not bad.
No.
Oh my goodness. So, and that's how Wheatgrass and Champagne was founded.
Yes, we were meant and destined to be friends and business partners.
So thanks for hanging in there for this crazy episode this week. I know this was a wild one, but also so informative and something that we feel like isn't addressed enough. So we hope that we answered all of your wild, crazy questions and took away some of the weirdness of waxing and some of the mystery. So we hope you love it. And it's perfect timing heading us into the summer season. So tune in next week for more fun facts about holistic life, weird things, and the balance between wheatgrass and champagne. And make sure you follow us on Instagram because we're going to be posting a lot about our future events and lots of other exciting things that we have up our sleeves.
And I'm totally going to interject. The one that we have planned for the holiday season is going to be amazing.
It's going to blow you away.
So excited.
Yeah, we're stoked for that. But we're not going to say anything yet.
Nope.
Top secret.
Top secret. So we'll talk to you guys again next week.
Yes. So whether you're cleansing or celebrating,
cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.